Does that sound fine?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal and Horror Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but I'm afraid to shit on both of them. I'm Mike.
Matt,
I almost fucked that one up.
you almost did. I was going to call you on it, but then I was like, nah, it works. And quite honestly, if I wanted to be really nice, I can go in there and do kind of a quick editing job to where nobody would notice. But I'm just going to leave it as is, because why not? We're human. Speaking of being human, you guys might have noticed that we missed a week. That is because my mother's dog, our family dog back in the United States, died the day prior. And instead of trying to power through an episode for you guys with me being horribly sad, we decided to skip a week. So forgive us, but I figure if you guys are metalheads and horror fans, you probably get it. That also reminds me something I want to start here, Mike. To all the directors out there and all the writers, stop killing dogs in horror movies. Stop it. Stop it. Because I am tired of watching horror movies with my wife and having to stop the movie because she's crying and I have to turn it off. Just stop. There's no reason to kill a dog in a horror movie. There's just not. Like, find another plot device to move the movie on and quit killing dogs. Kill all the fucking humans you want. I don't give a shit. But don't kill dogs anymore. Stop killing dogs in horror movies. Is that something we can all agree on, Mike?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I also don't know.
Okay, and no ferret deaths either.
What? No ferret deaths.
No
either.
ferret deaths either.
Yeah, but I haven't really seen ferrets that often in horror movies, but
well,
I
then
agree.
you haven't. There is a horror movie where it does happen and it's not nice. So thankfully you haven't seen that one.
Okay.
I'll probably remember the name of the movie after the episode. I can't remember it now, but it was an independent. But it does happen. Just quit killing animals, dude. Nobody needs to see that shit. Kill all the people you want. Human beings suck. So yeah. Sorry we missed an episode. It kind of sucks too because me and Mike are trying to go to the theater to see a movie when it comes out so that we can come back and be like, okay, spoil everything for you or at least give you an idea of what the movie's about so you know whether to waste your time or not. We did that this time.
Yeah.
And the movie had only been out for a few days, and then we had to skip a week. But anyway, we're going to tap dance around this a little bit, Mike.
Yeah,
as usual.
as
Okay.
usual.
So this was a movie that, what's the best way to put this?
It was unexpected, so it's when we saw it, I was not expecting this.
No.
I thought it was going to be a remake of the original. I think it was from the 70s or around that time. Yeah. Maybe even earlier. I'm not entirely sure what year the original one came out. And of course, I thought
the original was black and white. The original was a very old movie.
Wow!
I can't remember exactly the year, but I don't want to say because I don't want to give it away. Very unexpected.
But you go into this movie and think it's going to be a remake of that. I thought it was going to be a remake of an original, but it was like once the movie started, you were like, okay, this is something entirely different than what you expected.
That's what kills me though, dude. Like if you do a remake and you call it a remake, right? So a good example is like Wolfman, right? That did this very badly. You get an old IP that is a very well-known IP. Everybody knows it. And then you say you're doing a remake. Well, if you do a remake, you do a remake of the film. That means retaining most of the story and changing a few parts here and there, but doing it visually different, right? Mm-hmm. The Wolfman failed horribly at that because we got a street-dwelling crackhead with long fingernails instead of a Wolfman. That was very, very bad. Right?
Yeah.
You got at this point, I think there's 3 different remakes of Dracula now, right? Um,
More.
yeah, because there was one before the one in the 90s, Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves. And then there
There's
was this new one that just came out, so there's 3. I never saw
no,
the first remake.
there was one in the 50s. Then after that, there was the Dracula movies we all know with yeah, Christopher Lee. God damn it. Okay. Gotta think.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. No?
So
Yeah.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
remake with Christopher Lee. That one
Yeah.
is remembered because he's remembered as Dracula. And then
You
you got
remember that Dracula, exactly. Then there was, of course,
Keanu Reeves and
exactly.
Gary Oldman. And then you got the one that just recently came out that we haven't seen yet.
Not necessarily have the one with Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves. Then you had, if you want to consider it a remake, the Dracula trilogies of Wes Craven.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That one doesn't feel like a remake.
Yeah, it's something. It's about Dracula, but those. But
It's about Dracula, but yeah.
Those 3 movies weren't bad. I mean, I thought they were pretty good. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dracula's been done right.
Yeah.
The Wolfman has been done okay. The one with Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro was great. I still can't wait to do that one. I love that movie.
Yeah.
So, but this is I think the 3rd remake of this IP. Also, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think this is the 3rd remake. But there's no way.
I'm not entirely sure, but that could be. That's possible.
There is no way that you can call this movie a remake. No way. The fact that it was marketed as a remake, it's fucked up.
Well, for the most part, I would just consider it an entirely new thing on its own.
It is. Yeah. Absolutely. This has nothing to do with the original. And it was marketed as a remake. Even the previews marketed it as a remake. But the previews are very, 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 very misleading. That's not to say that this is a bad movie. It wasn't. I loved it. Mike loved it. It's a good movie, right? But maybe you should have titled it something else. And there's a good reason for that, but we'll get into it. So what's the movie we're doing today, Mike?
We're doing The Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mummy just recently came
out. Why
that
was so hard to tap dance around?
Yeah.
There's so many Mummy movies. The Brendan Fraser one was a decent remake of the original story. It's weird that people don't know that.
Yeah. It was a comedy though. But those 3 movies
it was a comedy.
Yeah.
It was great. I love the original Mummy. It was done well. It was faithful to the original story. It was not a horror movie, but I don't think it needed to be. It was good as a comedy, right?
Yeah.
This one is titled The Mummy, was marketed as a remake, but is actually an Evil Dead film. It is an Evil Dead film.
Yeah.
There's a few reasons for that. The thing is, Mike, after we saw it, I thought about that for a while. Like the whole week after we'd seen it, I was like, dude, it might as well have been another entry in the Evil Dead series for a lot of reasons. But there is good behind the scenes reasons for that. So this guy, who the director's name is what? Cronin, right?
Lee Cronin. Lee Cronin is his name.
Mm-hmm. He is the director of Evil Dead Rise, writer-director, right? Great movie. Excellent entry into the Evil Dead series. He is a huge Evil Dead fan. And he says so himself. I can love the Evil Dead. I've always wanted to do an Evil Dead film. And after begging them to death, they let him do Evil Dead Rise. So he did Evil Dead Rise. He wanted Evil Dead Rise to do really well. It did really well. And so he thought they were going to let him do another one, which was what he wanted to do, right? Says so himself. I'm not making this shit up. They didn't let him do another one. Instead, they were like, you know what? You should do The Mummy. You should do a remake of that. And he was like, okay. So he did. But it's an Evil Dead film. It's not The Mummy. He wasn't
Yeah.
fooling anyone from the beginning there at all. There's absolutely nothing about this film that says Mummy, Mike. Nothing.
Except the fact that you have somebody that is being mummified.
Well, so that's the other argument. Like there is a mummy in the movie, but the female character that is supposed to be the mummy is not actually mummified. She's just like she's completely alive. That's the thing. She was
Yeah.
never once dead. You know? It's a possession story. It's a possession story. And it even involves a sacred text like the Necronomicon that they have to bring up. And then the most telling thing is this got such a big amount of buzz online, and you can go back and read this stuff. People were like, okay, so this is so much of an Evil Dead movie. Does this take place in the same universe? Is what they asked. And Cronin came online and answered. He's like, absolutely. It is the exact same universe. And by the way, the professor that you see in this movie, his last name is the exact same last name as the family that you see in Evil Dead Rise. The two girls in the movie, the two sisters, their last name is his last name. So this guy is actually a relative of the girls in Evil Dead Rise.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy is like, yeah, it even happens in the same universe. Same universe. Maybe even connected is what he said. So it's just this guy wanted to make an Evil Dead film so fucking bad that he took another IP and made an Evil Dead film out of it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not a complaint because the movie is great. It's a good movie.
It is. It is a great. It's a great movie. I loved it. Really.
The acting was fantastic. The special effects were fucking great. Holy shit. I have nothing but praise for this. I think that was one of the first things I said to you when I got out of the theater was the special effects in this, the CGI when it was used right where it should have been used. It didn't look fake. It added dramatic effect. Thank goodness they did that. Right.
Yeah.
The rest of it's practical, which was awesome because we're seeing less and less of that. So it's refreshing to see a movie where they actually use practical effects again. Before we do that, I was gonna say I should actually start taking shots when you fuck this up. I mean, it's Sunday, right? It's Sunday. I don't have to work on Monday. But maybe if you start butchering names, I should just drink every time you do it.
Yeah, but before we get into the name butchering, if you like our podcast, please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, follow us, and hit the bell button and all of that stuff. So,
Yes,
because it really helps us out.
Yeah. The typical stuff. We will not get into sponsoring because we're not trying to make money from this thing. We just do it because we like it. So you are not being hit with any commercials during this shit. I don't know if anybody noticed that. There are no commercials during our podcast, not one. And the reason is we don't do sponsors. So fucking like the channel and
I would say more the reason we're not monetized. That's probably. Let's get into the name butchery. Okay. The cast. It starts off with Iron Fist. I think that's his guys. I think maybe he reminds me of Iron Fist. I'm not sure if that's the same actor or what. But his name is Jack Rayner, who plays Charlie Cannon. Then we have May Calamari.
Drink.
Laya Costa, Billy Roy, Veronica Falcone, May El Haiti.
Drink.
I think I butchered pretty much every single name. We have Shiloh Molina, Natalie Grace playing Katie Cannon, and Hayat Camilla. Drink. I mean, I think this is like the first time where I almost managed to butcher almost every single name. No,
Well, I'm
but
really glad that I didn't start drinking on this episode then, Mike, because I wouldn't make it all the way through. Not after that. It was a very, very vulgar display of name butchering.
yeah.
Uh, okay. Yeah. So a bunch of names we can't pronounce. Anyway, as we stated, the writer director was the writer director who's on Evil Dead Rise. I'm not really sure what else this guy has done. Because I
Yeah.
had not heard of him before Evil Dead Rise. That's not to say he hasn't done some films. He probably has. I just don't know
Yeah,
what they
no.
are. But great job. The only thing that I did not like about this movie, and it's really not that much of a gripe because this is more of a taste thing than anything else. This is a slow burn. This is a slow burn horror film.
Uh, yeah.
You don't
Well,
think so?
no.
Slow burn. You don't think so?
No, not really. I didn't have the feeling like it was slow burn. I thought the pacing was actually pretty good. I mean, slow burn, considering the fact where it takes a while before the let's say actual horror stuff starts, but I wouldn't say slow burn to the point where you say like nothing happens. You know? No, I don't.
Well, slow burn doesn't mean nothing happens. It just means that there's a lot of dead time in between when things do happen, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep. Yeah.
that doesn't bother me. Like I don't care. There's great horror
So,
movies that are slow burn horror movies, right? It's not a big deal. But the pacing here felt off for me. And like I said, it's a taste thing. Not
it's a
everybody's going to
taste.
agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But that was really the only problem I saw with it. This film does do a little bit of trickery too, and we'll get into that. Like it makes you think one thing is happening, but that's
Yeah.
not really what's happening, and it does that a few times. But that's also not a complaint. Like there's some parts of this movie, like this is definitely body horror, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's a body horror film, and uh, watching the preview for it, I was like, well, this is not going to be one that I can take my wife to because she can't stand body horror. And then we went to go see it, and I was like, well, that is not as bad as the preview made it out to be at all. So not a gross out film by any means. But that said, there was some body horror. It has an odd start because the movie opens and it opens in a place that you're not sure where it is. It's obviously somewhere in the Middle East. They
Yeah.
don't explain it right away.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought I
but it's
I
in.
I I thought it was Egypt straight up from the beginning.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't. I didn't because I've been to Egypt and this doesn't look like Egypt. That's why I didn't. I did not immediately think. Of course, I've only been to Cairo, so I haven't been to like anywhere else. So this very well could be what the rest of Egypt looks like. But yeah, it takes place in Aswan, Egypt, which is outside of Cairo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of more out in the desert. You're introduced to a car full of people, and it's a family.
Mhm.
It's a little girl named Layla, her brother, her dad, and her mom, right?
Yeah.
And her mom is driving the car, and they're driving out to what looks like a homestead in the desert. Turns out this is the family's home. So family was probably in the town or something in Cairo and are now coming back home.
Mhm.
The mom is kind of a bitch because the kids in the back seat are cutting up and singing songs, and the dad is singing songs with them.
Yeah.
And the mom is just kind of a stone faced bitch, dude. She's not having any of it. She's not laughing. Like while they're singing to the song on the radio, she turns off the radio and she's like, "That's enough of that." Right?
Yeah.
She's just not a very fun person at all.
No, not. No. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll find out why, right? So the family they get into their house and they open the door. The family has a bird, like a pet bird, that's in a cage. And obviously the little girl, Layla, really loves this bird. So the first thing she wants to do is run in and go see the bird. That's probably what she does every time. Turns out Tweety Bird is dead. Tweety Bird is not moving. And she's laying in her cage. The little girl's obviously sad. The dad's like, oh, that sucks. The mom immediately gets this look on her face like she knows what's going on. Right.
Yeah. Mm.
Something strange is up. There's a reason why the bird is dead. She doesn't want to say anything in front of the kids or whatever. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike, I don't think the bird's completely dead, right? It's dying.
It's dying, and you can see it in its blood. What makes it unnatural is that way more blood than is definitely in the bird's body, but
Yes.
it's dying clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. So she takes the bird out of the cage and snaps its neck. I didn't need to see that, but whatever. It's in the movie. So yeah. So then the mom looks at the dad, and there's kind of an exchange between the two, like they know what's going on. And so they leave the kids in the house, and they go down in the basement of their house, right?
Yeah.
There's no words being spoken here. They're not saying anything to each other. They're just traveling down this dark passage into the basement. When they get to the basement, it's all sand. It's like a sand floor with the top of a pyramid. So it's obviously that this is the top of a pyramid in their basement.
Yeah.
Just the steeple, right? And so that's odd, right? But there's another trapdoor right next to the steeple that leads even further down into the pyramid. So the couple go down into the pyramid, and when they get to the bottom, there's a sarcophagus. And it's your typical Egyptian sarcophagus. Not as decorated, obviously, but it is a sarcophagus. They hook hooks and chains into both sides of it to bring the top up, right? Because they want to look and see what's going on inside. We don't know why yet, but they start lifting up the top of the sarcophagus, and as they look in, there is a mummified body, right? And at first, it's not moving. It's just a mummified body. And then all of a sudden, it jerks like it's alive. When that happens, one of the hooks that's on the top of the sarcophagus flies off and hits the husband right in the jaw, right here, pierces his jaw, so the top of the hook is coming out of his mouth, and then lifts him into the air. And so he's choking on his own blood. You see the woman's face, and that's kind of the last thing you see, and she's terrified, right? That's the end of that scene. And that's kind of all the explanation you get. So as far as a mummy movie goes so far, Mike, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, pretty well. It's pretty, yeah.
I mean, it's obviously a mummy movie. Next, it flashes forward to, let's see, to Cairo. And there's something that happens here that you have to remind me I have to point out, because I pointed it out to you in the theater. It's pretty interesting. But it's in Cairo, and specifically it is in the exact section of Cairo that was used to film Raiders of the Lost Ark at the beginning of the movie.
But that doesn't happen till later, man. Yeah, because
I know. I'm just pointing it out that part of the town is actually where all that was filmed, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit of movie trivia.
Yeah, because the next scene is basically because you have like the family that the story is going to be centering around.
Yeah.
The family now is an American family living in Cairo because the father is a reporter, and apparently he has for some reason he's doing some reporter stuff in Cairo. I have no fucking idea. However,
they don't really explain it. He's in Cairo for reporting for some reason.
This seems, but it's a completely normal, happy family. You know, like the dad is having playing a game with his daughter, and his daughter, but he's how much to say it? He gets distracted from the TV. The daughter reminds him, blah blah blah, and then parents have a short discussion, and the kids get into a fight because the boy just decides to,
because they're kids.
They're kids, however.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the mom goes to work, and the father stays home with the kids to just look after them. This is when the girl, by the way, goes out to the garden somewhere to have like a tea party with her dolls or pups.
Yeah. So One thing to mention here is that the dad, the girl and the brother were fighting, like you said,
Yeah.
and the dad is the one who had to break it up. So he was like, "Hey, why don't you go find Layla and play with Layla?" Is what he says to her, right? So Layla is the little girl that we met at the beginning of this movie in the car with the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
So obviously she is friends with Layla in some way. So he says, "Go find Layla and play with Layla." And this is where we see her having her tea party out in their backyard, right?
Yeah. Well, then you have like the evil bitch. I don't know. I don't remember the character's name. No, but I mean, this is a character you're supposed to dislike.
We
Uh,
saw it in German, and they didn't really give her a name, but apparently in the original version, Layla calls her the magician.
Oh yeah, the magician. Okay, the
Yeah.
magician. However, what I mean, the girl's name. What's
The girl's name's
the
Katie.
Katie, exactly.
Katie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Katie is in the garden, having like a tea party until the magician walks up to the fence and starts talking to her, telling, I'm Layla's mom and blah 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 blah. Gives her candy. I'm gonna try to, like calm her down like what a lot of creeps do. Um the magician says something, she apologizes for what she's going to do now and blah blah blah, and then speaks out some curse where a scarab comes down her arm and crawls into Katie's mouth.
Yeah.
And yeah, then she grabs her and takes off with her. I mean, I think around this time or shortly after that, the father comes out because he was looking for her and she didn't come back in. He sees that where she was having her tea party was empty, and then he and also saw a hole cut into the fence, so he runs out there, but at first can't not spot Katie or whatever. He walks down the road a little bit until he spots the magician holding Katie. He screams at her
Right.
and then starts chasing her. Now, this is the scene where you brought up where you have
Yeah.
like the father chasing down the magician, now kidnapping his daughter through the same roads where Raiders of the Lost Ark was filmed.
Yeah,
Huh?
and it's cool because if you're familiar with the movie, and this might be something you want to do when this movie comes out and you can watch it at home,
Yeah.
watch it side by side with Raiders of the Lost Ark because the dad is running down the streets, down the exact same streets that Harrison Ford was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he stops himself on walls the same way Indiana Jones does in that movie at the exact same spot where Indiana Jones stopped himself. So the director was like, "Hey, we're going to find this same street and you're going to do the same movements that Harrison Ford did down these exact same streets and see if anybody notices." I
Yeah.
caught it immediately. So it was
Yeah.
kind of a nice little movie trivia salute to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in this part, this also kind of fits with the original Mummy because at this point
Yeah.
you get a sandstorm, and the sandstorm comes out of nowhere, right? If you have been to the Middle East, or maybe you live in the Middle East, specifically in Egypt, you know that when one of these sandstorms comes, there is a citywide siren that goes off to let everybody know it's coming. Because when these things come, a lot of the time they come out of nowhere. It's not like a storm where you get a broadcast that says, "Hey, at this time today, we're going to get a rainstorm or a bad wind or anything." It's not like that. They just come out of nowhere. And so if it's spotted in time, the city sends out an alarm system across the city with sirens and lets everybody know to get in. Because if you get stuck in a sandstorm and the sandstorm's bad enough, you can die because you can't fucking breathe. So everybody gets inside. The sirens go off as he's chasing this woman who's got his kid, and the sandstorm basically takes over the city. So now the girl is gone. There's no way to find her at this point, right? Um, the dad comes back inside, and I think the next scene we get is when the mother comes home, right? So the mother has come home. The
Yeah.
dad's there. The brother is obviously distraught because the sister's missing. The dad is freaking out. Um, the mom is like, "How could you let this happen?" Blah blah blah. And so the dad runs into the little girl's room and notices that her dollhouse that's on top of her nightstand, or I think it's her nightstand, or maybe it's her closet. One of the doors has something sticking out of it. So he reaches up and opens the dollhouse door, and all of these candy wrappers fall out. Right.
Yeah.
It's like 10 or 12 candy wrappers, and they're the candy wrappers of the candy that the magician gave her before we saw her get taken away. So this has obviously been going on for a long time, right?
Yeah.
This person has been coming to see her, gaining her trust, and getting her to get close enough to where she could finally take her away. When he realizes this, they report the kidnapping immediately to the police, right? Um, when they go in to see the police, there are two cops. There's one man who is obviously like an older detective type,
Yeah.
and he is immediately suspicious of the father and the mother. Like he immediately thinks that they might have something to do with the disappearance of their daughter, or they might not be telling the whole truth, or they
Yeah.
may have killed her. But instead of wanting to search for the girl, he immediately says we should be investigating the family. Right?
Yeah.
There is a younger female cop that's there too. This female cop kind of believes the story and wants to help, right? So she sits with the dad and kind of talks about what happened and how things went down and how the daughter went missing. Um, and an investigation is started. Uh,
Yeah.
they obviously don't find the girl because after the father sits down with her, it flashes to 8 years into the future. And that's what you get on the screen. It says 8 years later.
Yeah.
And at this point in the movie, I was like, oh, come on, fuck. I'm not going to get to find out what happened. We don't get to see any of this stuff. It just flashes forward to 8 years ahead. But that's part of the story. One thing we forgot to mention, Mike, is that the wife, the mom, was pregnant at the time
Yeah.
that all this took place. Right. So now we see the family and they're living in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Mhm.
And she's had the child, obviously. And since this is 8 years ahead, this child is 8 years old. And it's also a little girl. Right. Um, they live in Albuquerque, New Mexico with the wife's mother, who is probably like in her mid 70s, I would assume, something like
No,
that.
60s. I would say
Um,
she's not that old. I would say
no?
she's she's in her 60s, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 60s. Um, the mother is Mexican, and so the mom is also Mexican, and very, very, very religious, as a lot of Mexicans are. Very Catholic. She wears a rosary bead around her neck. She's always talking about God and saying prayers and all this stuff. So there is a religious context here. This side of the family is very
Yeah.
Christian. Um, it's not really stated if the mother is or not, but her mother is very religious. Um, so yeah, 8 years later, family lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico with Larissa's mother. The mother's name is Larissa. Carmen, and younger child whose name is Maud. That's the new daughter's name.
Mm.
It flashes from there to a plane that we see flying through the sky. And this is in Egypt again. So we're flashing forward to Egypt, probably the exact same time. In Cairo, a
It's just
plane is,
I wouldn't say it's the same time, just happen different places
yeah, yeah,
where it's jumping back and forth. Yeah.
exact same time. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so we see this plane and it's not like a big passenger plane. It's like a cargo plane. Right. And in the back
Um,
of the plane, we see all of these relics. There's like boxes with Egyptian writing on them. There's some archaeological artifacts that are kind of wrapped up that you can see. And there is the sarcophagus that we saw at the beginning of the movie in the basement of the house in Cairo, right? Um, and so obviously these guys have this sarcophagus that we saw at the beginning of the movie and they're transporting. Somewhere during this time, the plane crashes, right? Um, and it crashes not necessarily in the desert. There's parts of Cairo, Egypt that are actually green. A lot of people don't know that, but there's a lot of like it's basically like a forest. So the plane has crashed in the forest, and here's where we get our first gore scene. The two pilots, one of the pilots is smashed against a tree, and he's
Yeah.
impaled through the face with a branch, and the other pilot's on the ground dead, and the plane's in a wreck. Everything looks to be destroyed from this plane crash. All the relics, everything that was on board is just on fire and destroyed, except for this sarcophagus. And the sarcophagus is stuck in the sand at its feet, sticking straight up in the air, closed. Um, a kid that is in the desert, or at least a ways away from this crash, sees the plane crash. So he goes over to where the plane crashed, finds the two pilots dead, and the sarcophagus standing straight up in the middle of the dirt. Right.
Yeah.
Flash forward to the police station, because they're the ones who have now taken control of the sarcophagus after the crash. And I think it's the same cop that we saw earlier, the kind of older detective, and he's like, it's a bit strange that this sarcophagus doesn't even look scratched from this crash. But we can't open this thing alone. Like this is a very important piece of history. We need to get a professor or somebody like that who's an expert on the subject to come in and open it. Right. So they get a hold of a guy who is I don't think it's really said what he does, but he is an expert in this field.
Yeah.
They get the sarcophagus into their laboratory to open it.
Yeah.
And they open the top, and they notice that there is a mummy inside of it wrapped up, which is what they expected. But what you notice as the viewer is that this mummy that is wrapped up in this sarcophagus is nowhere near the same size as the mummy that we saw at the beginning of the movie. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I immediately noticed this was not the same mummy. And so this guy goes in with a set of pincetta. What's pincetta in English, Mike?
Teasers.
Tweezers, yeah.
Tweezers.
Goes in with tweezers and starts slowly unwrapping this mummy. And as he's doing that, you start to notice that there is not rotted flesh underneath, but white flesh, right?
Yeah.
So as he's taking more and more away, you realize that this is actually a person that's not rotted away and not a mummy. So when they've unwrapped enough of it, you see that it is a girl, right? And she wakes up right after he gets most of it off of her and starts breathing. Cut ahead to the family. The family are still in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they've taken the kids to kind of this. It's like an outdoor food truck area where you get pizza. The family is talking about getting pizza. And they're about to go get pizza, and the husband gets a phone call and notices that it says Cairo. Like on the phone, it says Cairo, Egypt. And so he looks at the wife, and she looks at him, and you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, the only reason anybody from Cairo would be calling them is if something has come up in the case of their missing daughter. So he tells the wife, hey, take the kids to go get pizza. I'm going to take this call. So she takes the kids and goes over to get pizza. He takes the call. The wife comes up to him after a little while he's on the phone, and he says, they found Katie. So the girl that was inside the sarcophagus is Katie.
Yeah.
Their daughter, who went missing 8 years ago. So now the family has to fly to Egypt. And all of this happens really quickly, thankfully. We don't have to like watch them get on the plane and all this shit. So next scene, they're in Egypt, right?
The parents. It's not the family. The thing was only the parents that went there. No.
Yeah, it's just the parents.
Yeah.
They go back to Egypt. Their daughter is at a hospital because obviously she's alive, but probably not doing well, right? So she's in the hospital. The parents show up, and the doctors bring them back to see her. Katie is not in a good state. Katie looks like she's dead. Basically, there's a dramatic change here between the original little girl that you saw at the beginning of the movie to the way that this girl looks. Obviously because it's two different actresses, but the face is completely different. in that, did you notice her eyes tend to look more spaced far apart, and she looks almost, I'm not going to
Yeah.
say alien, but she looks very different than the original
Yeah.
little girl.
Yeah,
Right.
that also, but that's generally, I think, what the actress looks like. Huh?
That's what she looks like. They go into the hospital room where their daughter is. The daughter does not respond to anything. She's just sitting there shivering, uh, not saying anything, emotionally disturbed is what the doctors say. They say, hey,
Yeah.
whatever happened to her, it's going to take months, maybe years to get her back to being okay. So understand that if you take her home, because she is your daughter, if you take her home, it may be a very, very long time before you have your daughter back, if you get your daughter back at all. Right.
Yeah.
Um, the family say they're willing to do that and they want her to be home. So they fly her back home to Albuquerque, New Mexico. When they get there, of course, the brother is meeting her again for the first time in 8 years. Her younger sister has never met her before. So
Yeah.
this is really like hard to watch, honestly, like this scene, because the family wants their daughter back and their sister back and everything that she was before, but this thing is a shell. It's not really a human being anymore. Like it is, but her mind is not there. She has to be pushed around in a wheelchair. Um, she has to be fed. She has to be taken care of. She has to be clean. She can't do anything on her own.
Yeah.
Uh, the the grandmother is there living with them, so she's helping out a lot as well, trying to get her nursed back to health. We're not sure how much time goes by during this
Yeah.
time. Like I didn't really. This could all be the same week, or this could be months. We don't really know, but
I
they
would
are
probably a few weeks. I would say. I would
a
not
few
just say.
weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So they've given her a bath, and showered her at one point. They're brushing her hair, or the grandmother's brushing her hair, and as she's brushing her hair,
Yeah.
like hair is just coming off of her head on this brush. Like hair's falling out. She's basically rotting, is what it looks like, right? And this is where the movie kind of takes a turn. Um, they are, you get kind of a close up shot of her nails, and I fucking hate this, Mike. I don't know how you are with horror movies, but
This one is
did
bad.
you look away at this part in the movie? Because I did.
Not the
I'm not
first
gonna
time.
lie, I had to look away.
When yeah, I think when her skin rips off. That, by the way, no, that's going to come out later. That's not actually her skin, but gets to that point
Right.
later when she cuts off her one toenail and it kind of her entire skin up to her knee rips off. Oh, that part was pretty bad, dude. I mean, I have to
Yeah,
admit that part was bad.
I
Yeah.
normally I don't like twitch away when stuff like this happens, but I have this thing with like toenails and fingernails, man. I don't fucking like that shit at all. I can't do it. Like I can watch somebody's hand get cut off. I can watch
Yeah,
pieces
yeah.
of your body get cut off. Doesn't bother me at all. You start fucking with fingernails and toenails, dude. I'm like, no, no. I don't want to watch this part.
Mhm.
Anyway, she's in her wheelchair, and it's funny too because the whole theater gasped when this happened. Like, it wasn't just me and you. There were only like a couple other people in the movie with us, but when the toenail came off and pulled the skin all the way up her leg off with it, everybody was like, "Oh shit!" You know.
That part was yeah.
So anyway, it's funny too because the skin comes off with the toenail, and immediately the mom like tries to put the skin back, like she pushes it back on her leg and tries to like make it stick again.
Yeah.
And so basically now the family just thinks she's rotting and they don't understand. But whatever, it's a rough scene to watch. So they put her in a bedroom by herself. Um, And she basically just stays there, right? Like she doesn't go anywhere else. She
No.
doesn't do anything. She just stays in the bedroom. I think the family brings her down in her wheelchair to eat, but she's not
Yeah.
really eating anything either. Um, and so they're not really sure what to do with her except for to leave her in there. And so the mom comes in every once in a while, and it's kind of heartbreaking because the mom talks to her like it's her daughter from 8 years ago.
Mm.
Uh, she doesn't say anything back. She's just kind of like comatose. Um, and it seems like every time somebody leaves the room and she's there by herself, she actually starts taking pieces of her skin off, right?
Yeah.
And they start finding these pieces of skin around the house, which is kind of gross. Uh, the grandmother comes up to hang out with her at one time, and starts kind of saying a Christian prayer over the bed while she's laying there. And I got
Mm.
Exorcist vibes here, dude. Like I told you, this is when we left
Yeah,
the
yeah,
theater.
we've
A
talked
little
about
bit
this.
of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
little
Exorcist
bit of
vibe.
Exorcist.
Actually, this did not really remind me much of Evil Dead. I didn't really cat on to that until you told me later. For
Yeah,
me, this movie reminded me of a better version of The Exorcist because I think you can rewatch our episode on The Exorcist. I always thought the movie was boring as shit. It was one of the most boring horror movies I've ever seen. And even when I grew up with my friends or whatever, as we said, now we were all like,
yeah,
okay, but I grew up in Germany,
yeah,
uh, and we were all like, why is this movie so scary? I, I
yeah,
literally I literally had serious discussions back in the day with multiple of my friends because we knew that this caused kind of controversy in the States. No? And of course a lot of my friends asked me because, I'm an American that was raised in Germany. And I was like, at the time, like when the movie came out, I'm not even sure I was even born, and I moved away from the States when I was 10. So it's like it's crazy when people ask me like, how was that back then in the States? It's like, how the fuck should I know? I was 6 years old.
I mean,
Yeah, but
it's like we said on that episode. That movie is going to mean different things to you depending on how you were raised. So
yeah,
yeah,
because we were sitting there having discussions because I think we even had two of my friends had their girlfriends there with us that could not watch horror movies, and I think one of them even fell asleep because it was so boring to her.
yeah, yeah. It's a slow burn too. It's a slow burn too. But
No, but
if you want to know what we thought about The Exorcist, go watch that
yeah,
episode
but
because
I still stand with my opinion. Pazuzu is the most useless demon in existence.
well, you're not wrong, but it did get away with killing a few people in that movie. So
Well,
I
I mean,
mean, yeah, it was more just being blown away by the insults that thing spit out. Because if you were raised Christian in any way, like everything that thing said was just like horrible. You know what I mean? But yeah, otherwise it's just a useless demon that sits there and cusses people out. It definitely has a lot of that. And it's mostly the Christian symbolism and how this thing reacts to anything that's said about Jesus or the Bible or prayers or anything.
yeah,
It shudders. Like this character does not do much of anything for the first whole part of the movie other than look creepy. The only time it reacts is if anybody says anything about God or Jesus or anything like that. So there's hints that it is a demonic type of possession or being, right? So the grandmother is saying the prayer over the bed, and Katie looks over at her like she wants to kill her.
yeah,
And then she starts mumbling something under her breath. And this is the first time we've ever heard her make a sound. And she's saying something that's not coherent. It's not English. It's not German. It's not whatever. It's some other fucking language that we haven't heard of before. Um, of course, the grandmother doesn't realize that. She doesn't hear her do that. But that's our first hint that something is not quite kosher about this. Anyway, the family tries to care for her instead of kind of fully accepting how bad this is.
no,
At one point, Katie escapes her room and starts self harming herself. Like I think she cuts herself a few times, and as she's cutting herself, she's tearing strips of what appears to be her skin away, right?
Yeah.
And this is also hard to watch. Like you said, though, it's not her skin, and we don't find that out until a little bit later. But it certainly looks like her fucking skin she's tearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the father is home one day from work and notices the little pieces of like shredded skin on the floor and kind of looks at it, and it's the piece with the toenail that came off. Like he finds the toenail with that big strip of skin, and he looks at it and he's about to throw it away, but then kind of looks at it closer and realizes that the skin has writing on it. So
Yeah.
it's not just skin, it's skin with some type of Sanskrit writing on it. And he goes around the house and picks up more pieces of the skin and starts kind
Yeah.
of laying it out on a table. And he realizes that all of it is written on in different types of writing, right? And I think it's because when this stuff was on her body, uh, it was wet, so the writing didn't show up. But now that the shreds are drier, the writing is showing up. So he looks at it and immediately realizes that it is some type of Sanskrit or Middle Eastern style writing. So he
Mhm.
contacts the professor at the local university and says, "Hey, I have some pictures of some things that I would like you to translate for me. Um, do you mind if I come by?" Oh, he sends him an email, and the guy doesn't answer. So he goes
Yeah.
to the university. And when he gets there, the professor is in class. He's giving kind of like a Veda or a speech to his students, and the father is sitting in the back of the class. So when the class is over, he walks down to the front where the professor is and says, "Hey, sent you an email. I have some stuff that's really interesting and I need it translated." The professor does not seem very interested in anything this guy has to say. Like he's a tenured professor who's probably very tired of students and tired of dealing with people. And I feel his pain, Mike. I would not want to deal with people all day either. Fuck that job. I could not be a professor. Anyway, guy's not interested. And the father's like, "No, you don't understand." And he pulls out his phone and shows him pictures of the scraps of skin that he's been collecting. Professor looks at it and his eyes go wide immediately. Like he realizes that this is something different and special in some kind of way. And he says, "Okay, fine. Bring me the pieces and we'll look at them together and I'll see what I can do for you." Right. So I think it just goes from there directly into the findings of what the writing is, right?
Well, I think cuts back to the house where you see a little bit of shit going on because the girl, I mean Katie gets up, walks through the walls, and they have a chase with her. She starts eating bugs, and then they make her figure out like that shit goes on, and then it cuts back to what you said, what the professor said that he
Yeah.
when it come where the professor translated everything and the majority of the words, he says he knows it because there's this one word that constantly is repeating itself, and I think it's the name of the demon. Uh,
Yeah.
can you remember the name
Uh,
of the demon?
yeah. It's a Nosmaranian demon, which is an
Well,
ancient Nosmaranian was an ancient kind of culture within Egypt
yeah,
around the time of the Cradle civilization. So way, way, way BC,
yeah,
like
way,
way, way,
way
way
up.
back.
Oh, but what was the name of the demon? Do you have that? No.
No, I don't. He said it. So I think the demon is actually the Nosmaranian demon, is what it's called.
No, I think the vessel demon,
No, Nosmaranian. Yeah,
the Nosmoronian. Okay,
yeah.
really, that's what. Okay, how
Nosmaranian is the name
They
of the
come,
demon.
then the professor comes up with that. It's the Nasmoranian. Also, this is where you get a little bit of backstory to what the demon is or was. That it
Yeah,
was some kind of entity that jumped through bodies from person to person, and whenever it came to anywhere, it caused havoc. It caused the people to go and attack each other, to become
yeah,
violent and feral, in what used to be absolute loving communities, this demon turned into basically a war zone, people
Yeah.
slaughtering each other. Nah, so it clearly has. It does not even. It has. If you see even on later on the abilities this demon has, it has no reality warping abilities. It can just very very effectively fuck with everybody's mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does have a certain ability to bring back the dead, as we are going to
Yeah.
see later on as well. So it does have it it can influence bodies and life itself, but not actually change or warp reality in any way.
Yeah.
But the majority, I would say, the majority of what you see the powers of this demon is controlling certain elements and being able to control the minds of people. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Mike, it's a fucking deadite. It's a fucking deadite because it possesses, it brings
Yeah.
the dead back,
Yeah.
but it also possesses people and causes them to do terrible things to each other. Right.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
deadite.
deadite.
That's
Yeah.
exactly that's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah, however,
That's exactly what he was doing. Yeah.
yeah.
By the way, as I said before, the professor's last name, the guy who does all the translating, it's the same last name of the two girls in Evil Dead Rise. So this is somebody in their family. So just throw
Yeah,
that
well,
out there.
a large portion of this happens in the movie is you have like a lot of weird shit going on in the family house. Nah.
Yeah.
The younger daughter tries to interact with her sister Katie, but is super freaked out by her because nah,
Yeah.
she acts weird. You have a lot of extremely weird shit going on through the house, all related to Katie. The father
Yeah.
instantly starts to notice that they should, get her away from the house and get her help. They have coyotes, what's it called, sieging their house on certain
Yeah.
time of the days and all that kind of weird shit going on. But this is
Yeah.
the one thing that kind of bugs me out. I mean, even though it's obvious that they wanted to be here, but if you have a person in dark state, specifically the way Katie is, I would have brought her to a professional. Straight out, put her in the asylum. Not because you don't want to have your kid with her, but whatever is wrong with this girl, only a doctor or psychiatrist or somebody professional can help her.
Yeah.
Begin it's instantly there's something very wrong with this girl. She's been through some shit, of course. Nobody's gonna come up with, oh, she's possessed by a demon or that kind
No.
of thing.
No.
But uh but still okay, with the mother I can understand. And even though they're parents, they're probably not seeing things clearly because they're just happy to have their daughter back now.
Hmm.
But it does like the point that the father brings up, okay, we should maybe get her out of the house, get her to help. And this is also a lot of fights going on between the parents because the father he clearly knows that something's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't really, you can see in that the movie, believe yet that it's some kind of a demon, but he's trying to convince the mother that they should put her somewhere else where she can get professional help because clearly they can't help her. And he also is doing research into what has happened to her. And he often is throughout a large portion of this part of this movie is contact with a female cop in Cairo that is now, I think, at a very high position.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
She's in now in the same position that the
the
other
boss.
guy was.
Yeah, yeah,
She's main
exactly.
head detective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's where, yeah, like the mother often is pissed off because the father is not really taking care of Katie that much or as much as she would wish him to. But the
Yeah.
father is in kind of mind to help his daughter. He has to figure out what happened to her. And so you have like communication between the father and the female cop. This is where you have a lot of interesting things happening because this is where it cuts back to the part of the movie in Egypt with
Yeah.
the female cop, where she actually is investigating into the kidnapping. Nah, while the
Yeah.
father constantly here and there is figuring things out. I think at one point or another, he comes across a name,
Yeah.
a first
So
name.
yeah, it's Layla. So
Wait,
at the beginning of the movie, there's a very subtle thing that happens, and it's
yeah,
kind of like you would have to have caught it to really pick up on it, which is why when it happened, I was like, wait a minute, how does that make sense? But he was teaching his daughter Arabic Morse code at the beginning of the movie,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
And so she was adept enough to be able to communicate with him through Morse code, right? At least a little bit.
Yeah.
And so with that background, he is kind of spending time with her upstairs in her bedroom. And
Yeah.
then he realizes she's clicking her teeth together in a weird way, right? And he's like, wait a minute. And it sounds like Morse code. So then he starts writing down the clicks to try to figure out if it spells anything or if he's going crazy. So he spends enough time with her and she does the same clicks over and over and over. So he takes those clicks, goes downstairs, translates it, and what it comes out with is the word Layla.
Yeah.
And Layla was the name of her childhood friend that she had. So he
Yeah.
thinks this is a hint. So that's when he calls the cop and says,
Yeah.
hey, does the name Layla ring a bell? I think Layla was maybe the name of her childhood friend. Can you help me out with that? And so that's when the cop starts going on her journey to try and figure out who Layla is,
Yeah.
where she is, and finally he gets a last name.
Yeah.
And I think he does that by going through letters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes through letters the family received over the years, and then he comes across a letter where it has the exact same candy wrapping that Katie got. Somehow it went under, and then in that letter, he came across the last name. Then the female cop starts doing investigating. And this is where she eventually comes across throughout the first and last name. She can she can figure out where the family was, where the address of this girl was, Lila, and they drove to their house and is checking everything out. This is just where you see, like, yeah, we have like the magician, the mom, that's an evil bitch.
Yes.
To be honest, straight up to begin with, you dislike this character specifically. What happened afterwards makes you dislike her even more because there are multiple ways she could have done this better. However, the female cop is walking through the house, sees this kind of catacomb pyramid shit, but can't make much out of it yet. Walks back into the room. To this time, the evil bitch mom has came back in, and the cop says, "Freeze." This is
Doesn't
like
even pull out her gun. She just says freeze.
Yeah. Then the mom runs away and then comes back with a real big spalta. I'm not sure what
It's
the
like a bone splitting axe, like the thing that you
yeah
use to cut pig carcasses up with.
yeah I know what it is. Like, you just can't think of the English term. However, the
Bone
magician
splitter.
comes and starts attacking the cop. And of course, the female cop pulls out her gun and shoots her. This is like, it just shows. I don't know, how can you be like that insanely evil that you have a police officer in your house that, by the way, has not done anything yet, has not
Yeah.
been violent, but is
Yeah.
just like, freeze police.
Yeah.
Every normal person would turn around with their hands up like, okay, what the fuck is, what's wrong? What are you doing here? But like,
Yeah.
instantly attacking her?
Yeah, this
Yep.
is that part of the movie that I tried to make sense of because
Yeah.
if in any other situation, and maybe it's justified when you see the final product of what this demon is, but when that cop was there and said freeze, all
Yeah.
that woman could think of was fuck. She's going to stop me from doing what I'm about to do, and this demon is going to ruin my life.
Yeah.
So that's why she attacked her. Still, I think it would have been smarter to be like, okay, can we talk?
But
And then talk to her.
no, that does not make no sense because the demon is on the other fucking side of the planet. What the fuck is she going to do?
Well, so if for whatever reason they're able to figure out what's going on, they could have actually transferred the demon back over to her family because that's the only way out of it.
Yeah, but still, you would have to come across the demon. Yeah, I don't know. One way or another,
Either way, there's better way she could have done this for sure,
it's
right?
better. I mean, there's multiple better ways you could have done it. However, you see Lila then standing in the doorway, and start
Layla,
running.
right.
This is Layla, actually. You don't know that yet, but it'll come out.
Right.
Actually, the cop chases her. We have a short chase between the female cop and Layla. Eventually, you see Layla at a cliff digging something out where the cop says, freeze again. Stop, put your hands up. Layla, by the way, puts her hands up and shows her that she has this box and lays it down for the cop. I guess this is where Layla knew that this is probably what the cop was after. It was actually a videotape of the exorcism or mummification or whatever.
Of Katie, yeah.
The female cop opens it up, finds the tape, and takes Lila back to the police station
Yeah.
police station in Cairo, and then has an interrogation. And this is where it comes across. You can see Lila is not speaking at all, but this is where the female cop, is a little bit frustrated until Layla sticks out her tongue and sees that her tongue was cut off. Where the female cop realized, okay, she's not talking because she literally can't. Then
she asked her, who did this to you? And she said, my mom did this to me.
Yeah. Then she just,
I think
did
she
your mother,
writes, she asked her for a piece of paper and she writes.
Yeah, she just said, did my mom do this? And then Lila nods. Then the female cop gave Lila a piece of paper and a pen, and Lila just started writing everything down. And this is where it came across that Lila, her entire life, wanted to come out with it, wanted to tell the cops and whatever, but her mother wouldn't let her, and even cut out her tongue when she ran away and was going to go to the cops. And now, kind of that her mother's gone, she's like, fuck it, I'm saying everything. And she tells literally the female cop, write down on a piece of paper everything that she does.
Everything.
No?
Yeah.
The female cop then takes the videotape and watches it. What you only see a part of, not the full part yet. They're going to show that later on in the movie, but it's clear when the cop watches this videotape that she knows more or less what's going on. This is also where the magician explains basically what she's done. That the signs are there, and we have to repeat the mummification process. And she basically is now giving a one-to-one step on further generations, how to do this mummification process. Then also explains that child is the ideal vessel because the body will last longer, but technically any living person will do, or whatever. This is where we have the discussion on where it's like, okay, I don't care what you want to tell me, but taking an innocent girl and doing this to her, I mean, there are so much different options you could have taken. You could have taken a younger person that was crippled, or someone in coma. Go to some young kid in the hospital that's in coma and most likely never gonna wake up. One option that you can do. Another option is this is Egypt, and I probably guess they're not going to have a lack of superstitious people in this country.
Of course.
That's fine, by the way. That's not a comment on anything. It's just what I'm going to take a guess. They probably, and also probably a lot of religious people that are going to want to.
Oh yeah, it's Egypt. I mean,
do the good thing, do the right thing for God. So how should I say it? In this country, how superstitious a lot of these people are. You probably were going to find somebody that would have either voluntarily become the vessel or offered up another sick person or somebody. There are thousands of ways you could have done this instead of just picking out a random innocent girl.
I mean, honestly, like you said, the stellar option would have been someone who's in coma and young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, like this woman, I did not have a problem hating her because of that. Like, she is evil as fuck, because you took a young, innocent, unknowing child to be the host for a demon and ruin her life when you could have taken someone who's brain dead if you wanted to. But whatever. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. There were better ways. I'm sure this demon is probably heard of amongst these people. That it has to have been heard of because this professor in America has a whole thing on it. So
Yeah.
somebody in that country knows about it. She could have found the right people and found a proper vessel, but she chose to get a young girl who was innocent. So that's fucked up. I had a problem with that.
Yeah,
too.
that part is fucked up. However,
Yeah.
this is also where the female it cuts back to the States. But what you're gonna find out very soon, at this part, the female cop took the videotape and booked the next flight to the States, going
Yeah.
over to the pair. Because the female cop obviously knows, okay, we have to get this thing back in the catacomb, whatever. Because also this is where Lila also does that. It never should have left Cairo. It never should have left what's it called, the coffin.
Yeah,
the fan,
it should have never left the sarcophagus. It should not have been
sarcophagus.
opened.
The fancy word for coffin.
We're like over here trying to sound all scientific and like smart and shit. There's a sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she comes back. It's odd because I feel like there should have been a phone call here at some point, but there wasn't. She just showed up at their house with the tape.
Yeah.
And gave the mom the tape and said, "Hey,
Not
watch
yet.
this."
Not yet.
No?
Because,
Okay.
No, because we forgot the scene where the mummy is now gaining more and more power because
Right.
because it has removed more and more of the wrappings or its skin.
Right.
Its
The
skin.
wrappings were some type of special like spell that kept
Yeah.
the demon
Exactly.
contained
That
inside
is
the body.
that is also what the professor told the dad, that this is some
Yeah.
kind of binding spell. And this is where I
Right.
come across what you think is the girl's skin is actually not. It's the mummy wrappings. Because on the
Yeah.
one side it has this binding spell that is basically binding the demon to the body so that its magical
Right.
influence cannot go outside of that. And the more and more this mummy actually pulls off this skin, the more and more powerful it becomes because its powers can go out
Yeah.
because the more and more of the binding spell is now going loose. Then you
Right.
have the part where the mummy partially possesses the young girl and causes
Yeah.
her to
Yeah.
the sister to say all these cuss words in school and get into a lot of trouble.
Which is great. Which is great.
Yeah, great
I
scene.
love
Yeah,
it 'cause she just
yeah.
starts cussing out everybody at school. I forget what she says, but she says something in class.
I think in German, I think it's verfickte Froschpresse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that.
like
I have no idea what she says in English, but it's pretty
like
horrible,
something
right?
like hässliche Rattenpresse
Yeah.
oder irgendwie fickende Froschpresse, something like that in German.
Yeah.
I mean, because we
Yeah, like
watched it in German.
we watched
Yeah.
it in German, so I have no idea
Yeah.
what she says in English, but she
Yeah.
basically cusses out her teacher.
Yeah. Funny scene, by the way. No?
Yeah.
Then it cuts. Then you have the scene where the mummy kills the grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Also,
Exorcist.
yeah. Great scene, by the way. You have like I can't fully remember what happens. Just that the mummy kind of is levitating through the room, slaps the shit out of the grandma first.
Yeah.
A few times. I think stabs her even. And
Yeah.
then uses her telekinetic powers to lift the grandma up in the air.
By the
Until
crucifix. She has a crucifix around
Yeah.
her neck, and
Yes,
she, like, lifts her up.
exactly.
Yeah.
That was it. Then shortly before we have her levitating in the air, the mummy stops all of a sudden and just says, "Oh, it's cool to be dead, Grandma," and then just
Yeah.
pushes her out of the window.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, the mom is driving up at this time, like, to the house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she timed it perfect to where when she threw the body out the window, it landed on the car. So the mom sees her mom land on the front of her car all bloodied up. She falls off, and then the coyotes start ripping her to pieces
Yeah.
there in the
Yeah.
yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty
Then-
cool scene.
Pretty cool scene of that. Then it comes to another great scene because then it goes on to the funeral.
Yeah.
Because it cuts back to the funeral of the grandma, and this is
This
where
this whole part,
yeah.
Mike, feels very, very Sam Raimi to me.
yes,
This
absolutely.
whole scene.
Yeah. It's
It's
because you
very
see like the First, you see the youngest daughter pulling out grandma's teeth.
It's over the grandma's coffin and opens her mouth. And that's all you see at first, right? You just see her open her mouth and you're like, what the fuck is she doing? And the next scene, she walks over to her mom and smiles, and she's got the grandma's teeth in her mouth. And she's like, she starts snapping the teeth together. And that's when the mummy falls out of the ceiling because she's been dissolving her floor. Right. And I don't know, dude. It's a very Sam Raimi, like, over the top, disgusting scene.
The mummy falls onto the granny's dead body, bites her in the neck, and then the youngest sister just starts going feral and attacking everybody. Totally crashing the funeral.
Crazy.
You know? Crazy scene, by the way. This, I think, is also shortly after that. I think where the demon also possesses the boy, the son. It causes him to injure himself. This is not. But that happens shortly after the funeral was over. Everybody leaves out of panic, and then it comes to the nighttime, where the demon now is growing more and more powerful. Is now taking full control of the daughter and of the son, and is now fucking with the parents' minds. This is also where the cop shows up on their front door and then shows them the videotape of what happened. This is where with the female cop and the parents, they sit down in their front room and watch the videotape. And
it's pretty horrible too, because you feel like this is going to be the parents watching a snuff film, basically, of their own daughter getting killed. But what it turns out to be is the ritual of putting the demon in the girl's body, and then what looks like it's probably like the videotape skips ahead by probably like a few years or whatever. And they're feeding the mummy human people, right? To keep it inside of it. It's a quick thing, and I didn't realize it when I saw it, but then when I went back through the write-up, there's two scenes. There's one where they're putting the evil spirit into her and wrapping her up, and then another scene where they're feeding that mummy human bodies. But it's quick. And I was like, did I see that? And I had to go back and read about it. But yeah, that's what we saw. It was just too quick.
Okay, I totally missed that part. No?
Yeah, I did too. I didn't notice it until I read the actual summary that that's what was happening. But apparently they have to feed that mummy souls to keep it inside the cake.
However, then until I think eventually throughout this ritual, the mother even mentions the name of the demon. The what the fuck?
I don't remember already, dude. I've already forgotten the fucking name.
Forgot already. What? Yeah. The vessel, the Nasmaranian.
Nasmaranian,
yeah. I'm just gonna call the Nazar demon. Okay. The Nazar demon is even mentioned as when this happens, the father goes into shock. The mother instantly walks up and wants to check on Katie, but the father, for a very long time, is just in shock, staring at the TV. Eventually, he snaps out of it, but okay. The mother goes up, and while they're watching this movie, you can hear like the demon speaking to the boy and saying like, "Won't you come help me get undressed?" Is what he says. But basically, what happened is the boy goes into the room throughout the middle walls and pulls off helps the mummy pull off the rest of the wrappings off of her. Also, in this scene after that, the boy shortly attacks the mother. The mother actually grabbed something they want to sedate the daughter with, because apparently that sedating the body also keeps the mummy at bay. But the son attacks her. Eventually, after a short fighting scene where the son is now trying to kill his mom, not actually his son, it's the demon that is controlling the boy, the mother sedates the boy. But at this point, the demon is already now in full power. It's fully taking control of the body. The wrappings are all gone. It actually causes an entire sandstorm throughout the house. and I think the mother was knocked out.
Yeah, basically the dad is put out of commission, the mom is put out of commission. The only person that's left at this point that's actually okay is the cop, right?
The female cop, but also
Yep.
the grandma gets up out of her coffin as a zombie and attacks the female cop, having a
Yeah,
scorpion go right into her mouth, and with
which is
the
cool.
the sword now pop out of her neck,
Yeah,
and the cop reaches into her mouth and then pulls out the scorpion. Brutal scene, by the way,
it
but
is, dude, because
it,
this
it's very
this is like this is that body horror shit that
yeah
everybody's got their thing that would bother the crap out of them. There's people that wouldn't be able to watch this scene just because like creepy crawly things fuck with them. The scorpion goes into her mouth, turns around and sticks its fucking tail out through her fucking neck,
yeah
like destroying her vocal cords. And the reason is the demon knows that she knows the chant that
yeah
she's memorized to get the demon to move from one body to another. So if she can disable her vocal cords, she can't do the chant.
yeah
That's why she does it.
exactly.
And
However,
this whole thing feels very Evil Dead to me.
yeah,
Very.
does absolutely. You're right. You're right about that.
Yeah.
The female cop manages to pull the scorpion out of her neck again through her mouth. What has to
Yeah.
be insanely painful. And
Dude. Yeah.
I think takes out Granny Zombie, I
Yep.
think with a gun or whatever, and then runs up
Yeah.
the room. At this time, the father snapped out of it, ran up into the room where the mummy was, and is wrestling now with the mummy, trying to somehow get his daughter to come through.
Yeah.
At this point, the female cop comes running into the room, and the father just looks at the female cop and nods at her,
Yeah.
telling her what, basically hinting, do it, do the
Do
chant.
the chant. Yeah. Do the
Yeah,
chant.
yeah. The father, with all of his power, holds the mummy down on the floor. The cop literally has to push her vocal cords back into place.
So
And
fucking cool, dude.
it is brilliant scene, by the way.
Yeah.
Starts doing the chant. Uh, the mummy is fighting with all of its power to get out of the situation. However, the female cop completes the chant, and then the mummy passes from the daughter to the father, and the father
Right.
falls down on the floor. Now, I'm going to assume once the demon passes from one body to another, that person is going to be out for quite some time. It'll
Yeah.
take a while for the mummy to fully manifest within the body and for the person to wake back up again.
Right.
Yeah. In this part, you see the girl, not Katie, wake back up after her mom comes up to her. Yeah. And then it cuts back to a scene where you see them having these Egyptian writings all over the wall, and the father is locked up in a coffin. So they
Downstairs
did
in
it
the basement.
differently. They just the entire basement now is the
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought
yeah
that was really cool. They definitely had to get the professor to help them with that, but they've fortified the whole room with the same writing that was on the wrapping. So now that
yeah
mummy can't leave that room. Right. That was the whole point. I thought that was cool.
yeah. Yeah, then you see like the kids playing together, and now Katie is back to normal.
Yeah.
And Katie is doing Morse code on the coffin because the mummy or her dad from the inside is doing it. It's probably trying to fuck with, but the
Yeah,
family
of
knows
course.
this, of course. And this is where the daughter says to her mother, "Yeah, Daddy, just saying he loves us."
Yeah.
And then you're not sure what happens after this, but because it cuts back
Yeah.
to Cairo, and the female cop is now in a prison, and opens up the door and is with the magician.
Yeah.
I still call her the
She was
evil big.
still alive. We didn't know she was
Yeah.
well, no, we knew she was alive. We just didn't know
Mm.
what was gonna happen with her. Yeah.
Yeah, however, she's locked up now in a prison cell, and says the cop starts talking something with her, whatever, and then the magician. I don't really exactly remember what she says.
Yeah, she comes in and the magician says, "What are you coming to see me for?" Blah blah blah. Just kind of like very hateful that she's locked up.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
the
but
cop.
the
Yeah,
the cop leaves the room, and then the mother comes through the door. The magician sees the mother and is okay. You can instantly see in her face she's scared now because obviously she knows that this woman is probably going to try to kill her.
yeah,
And the conversation is also pretty interesting because you remember me, right?
yeah.
And she said, "You remember my Katie as well." And she at this point, the mother, the evil magician
Freaking the
is
fuck
just
out.
nodding. She's freaking out now because
Yeah,
she knows there's nothing. This woman, the mom, has no good intentions
no,
because the magician is. She's aware of what she did, and then you see the female cop pulling a wheelchair into the room with a
yeah,
mummy. They have all the binding. It's the father now that is
yeah,
possessed by the demon.
yeah,
And then this is where the mother, the magician becomes super horrified because she realizes what they're going to do now. They're going to
yeah,
repeat the transfer, the mummification resurrection, have the demon pass into the magician
yeah,
so that the father is free and the family can go and basically live their life. And the last thing you see is like the eyes of the mummy shortly waking back up through the face of the father, and then the female cop chanting this binding spell,
yeah,
and the magician basically screaming all of the air out of her lungs.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then that's the end of the film.
yeah,
Dude, I I did not see the end coming. I thought what we would see was the father chained in the box downstairs, and that's
yeah,
where the movie would end. And they kind of made you feel that way because after that scene with him in the coffin, the screen kind of went black. So
yeah.
you thought that was the end of the movie. And then it opened up on the cell, where they were doing the transfer to the magician from the mummy. That's fucking cool. And that scene was not originally going to be in the movie. I found that out. They were going to leave it where the father was in the coffin and the daughter was fine, and that was going to be the end.
Yeah.
But then they added this scene at the end of the movie just to give it more power, and I'm so glad they did because I wanted to see something bad happen to that fucking woman because she's awful,
Yeah, that's what everybody did. Yeah,
fucking terrible.
yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
this is like this is something where what actually at the end still make me like the movie even more. It's one of the very rare cases where a happy end in a horror movie works out good,
yeah,
where it doesn't
yeah,
actually kind of ruin the movie just because you see like, yeah, that bitch got what's coming to her. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
that's what you needed. You're right. That is very,
Yeah,
very rare in horror
yeah,
movies that
yeah.
happens. And a lot of times when they do it, it doesn't work out well. It kind of ruins the movie. But this one actually, it it's a happy ending, but it's also very mean spirited,
Yeah.
and I like that. Um, Overall, Mike, not a mummy movie, right?
No, no. It's
Not at
more
all.
it's more it's kind of like The Exorcist meets The Evil Dead. Yeah.
And and for that reason alone, as a horror fan, it's very difficult not to like it.
Brilliant movie. I loved it.
Um, I like this guy's style. Like I said, I haven't seen besides the Evil Dead film, I haven't seen anything else he's done. Um,
Mhm.
but whatever he does, it's kind of like Fede Alvarez. Whatever he does, I'm gonna go see it next because this
Yeah.
was great. I cannot figure out why this movie is not getting good reviews, but I have to wonder how much of that is actually real. I mean, we've had this discussion plenty of times. Like they
Yeah.
will bomb a movie with bad reviews, but there's not anything in this movie to dislike or, unless you're just like, I don't know, unless you're just like a person who loves the original Mummy story and you're pissed off that they didn't actually do a good remake. But as this movie's standing alone, it probably should not have been called The Mummy. It should have been called something else.
Yeah. It
But
depends on what actually Evil Dead subtitles The Mummy or something like that. No?
yeah, yeah,
But okay. Well, for one, I have not really looked into the reviews, no,
yeah, pull it
but
up.
okay, now I have it. Okay, this is a thing. Another thing you have. Verified ratings, reviews. Okay, now the bad reviews are from critics. Critics, in my opinion, are entirely useless because half the time these people have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Or
With
they're
user
being
reviews,
paid to say some shit.
yes, either that through the critics. Well, it depends. A lot of it you have the access media; they're being paid to do this, and a lot of other have no fucking idea what they're talking about. When it comes to the user reviews that are more reliable, you still have the problem with bots and review
Yeah.
bombing and a lot of that things. But review bombing happenings on both sides, positive and negative. But it's only brought up when it's the negative review bombing. But
Yeah.
okay. However, if we go to Rotten Tomatoes, the user score is 75%. Fine, pretty good.
Pretty
No?
good. Yeah. Pretty good.
If we go to IMDb rating, it has a 6.4 out of 10 rating.
Okay.
From 12,000 ratings, that's basically overall. Well, when it comes to a lot of the things, video games, things or whatever, what is more reliable, either the positive or the negative ratings, is the amount of ratings
Right.
things are getting.
Right.
That is actually more relevant because if you have like IMDb, it has 12,574 ratings.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it has quite a few thousand as well, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Does it tell me the exact same number? No. Gonna have to look that up. However, I can't actually see the exact number of reviews. Oh, okay, yes. It has 168 critic reviews and plus 1,000 verified ratings. That
Okay.
means it has 1,000 plus. So it could
Okay.
equally be also in that number area, like I don't know. However, a lot.
Yeah.
Has a lot of ratings. But that's kind of the thing when it comes also to video games or movies or a lot of these things. A lot of these things are basically just people's opinions.
Yeah.
And when it comes to user reviews, okay, I'm fine with that. But when it comes to critic reviews, no. This is like that's where I don't accept somebody just saying their opinion. Everybody has their opinion and it's not entirely objective, and I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But what I expect from a lot of these critics, these are journalists working for different websites.
Mhm.
I expect some kind of expertise. I expect them to have some kind of knowledge of movies, of the genres they're talking about. I expect a certain kind of objectivity to their review because I just expect that. I don't want to hear. I do when I see a movie review, I don't want to hear the fucking opinion of a journalist.
Yeah.
I want to hear a, so far as it is, objective, let's say, judgment of the movie, so far an objective score. That's what I want to see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
And that's just where I think where when it comes to movie critics, when it comes to critics on video games or whatever, where they absolutely fail. I've even seen
Yeah.
multiple people bring up the argument, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's just somebody's opinion. I'm like, no. These are official websites writing these scores. I expect them to know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I try my best to stay away from reviews because usually I'm not really one of those people who can get influenced by reviews. Usually, if I read a review or something about a movie,
Yeah.
I just kind of want to know what the general feeling is. But I'm not the
Yeah.
type of person that if they say the movie is bad, I'm not going to go see it because I know that it's bullshit. But how many people will read a review and read that something is not good and then not go see it? That's what pisses
A
me
lot of
off
people.
because you're
A lot.
not giving a true depiction of how good the movie is. So, to give you a general idea, as a horror fan, there's a lot of horror fans out there that will see a movie that I would consider not good, right? And they'll say it was great because it's horror and there's blood and gore and blah, blah. I need more than that for a horror movie to be good.
Yeah.
So you don't just generally want to read what horror fans have to say about a movie. You want to hear, like what you said, a professional who knows something about movies and how movies are made, I want to know what the quality of the movie is. I want to know if the story is good. I want to know all that. You can't trust anything you read anymore. So it almost makes no sense to even read reviews.
Yeah, it's true.
Because most of them are bullshit. Just my opinion. I think most of them are bullshit.
Most of them are bullshit. Depending, it doesn't matter if it's the critics or if it's the user review. Most of them are bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just go see a movie. I mean, if you have a friend that you know has about the same taste in movies as you do, and they saw it and they said it was bad, okay. If they said it was good, okay. But maybe trust people who maybe have the same taste you do, and quit trusting people that say they're professionals, because these people are the same people that did not like a lot of the movies that I thought were great. So I just don't even bother with reviews. It just pisses me off that they do these reviews, and it keeps people from seeing the movie, which can keep the people who made the movie from making the money that they should be making, that they earned making this movie. I don't know. It just pisses me off. And that's one reason why I want to do this podcast. And like, if we don't like a movie, let's say we really don't like it. Let's go back to Werewolves, first episode. Thought that movie was ridiculous. That doesn't mean it was a bad movie.
It was fun.
You know what I mean?
It's a fun movie.
Was a fun movie. We might shit all over something and laugh about it because it has funny aspects of it, or it's ridiculous. That doesn't mean it's a bad film. I don't think I would ever, except for Alien Earth. That's the only one where I would tell people, do not support it. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Yeah, don't watch it. Everything else, don't listen to us, man. Go make up your mind about the movie yourself. But you know, you can trust us. That's what I want to say. You can trust us. We're not going to give you a bad review or shit on something because we don't like who's associated with it or whatever else. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about this film?
No, so far it's a brilliant movie. I loved it, and I do think it's definitely one of the best horror movies that came out this year.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing. I had more fun in this horror movie than I have probably in any of the other ones we've gone to see so far.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. Ready or Not 2 was brilliant. Love that.
Ready or Not was Ready or Not 2 was great. That was awesome. If that's still in the theater and you're interested in seeing that one, go see it.
Yeah.
Go watch the first one first though, so you know what's going on. But I think I like this movie more than I like that one. But I think that's just personal taste.
I'm not sure. I just love the total eclipse of the heart scene in Ready or Not 2 so much.
the fucking dinner table fight between the two girls. Yeah.
I love it.
It's fucking brilliant. That was brilliant.
That scene was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole movie was fucking good. I think I enjoyed this one more just because of like I really dig like the whole demonology thing.
Yeah.
And I dig possession. And I dig like gross out type stuff with humor, which this movie did have a little bit of humor in it, believe it or not. I don't think we touched on it, but there's some good humor in this as well. This one, this kind of reminded me of not kind of the same style, but a little bit of Drag Me to Hell. Do you remember Drag Me to Hell?
Yes.
Okay, so that also has kind of that, but that's also a Sam Raimi film, so that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, so we said next movie was what? We just talked about this. This is my ADHD, Mike.
What movie we doing next? Send Help is our next movie.
Send Help. Also a Sam Raimi film.
Yes, and if everything goes well for that movie, we're also going to do a new format on the channel.
Yeah. So keep your eyes open for that. There'll be some new stuff. Yeah. That's all I got, man. You got anything?
No, so far that's everything from me as well.
Okay, cool. So stay tuned for the next episode where we do Send Help by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
And until then, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Bye.
The blackest skies, the depths